Let's get it. Praise the Most High, family. This is a great day here in the Carolinas. Absolutely gorgeous. I praise the Most High for it. Glad to see it. Because as the text says, this is the day that He has made, in order for us to rejoice in it and be glad. And we're to find our very being in Him today. I was a little disturbed this morning. I don't think the word is actually disturbed or troubled, but I had a thought lingering in my mind from our last two recordings, and it was showing me something. It was showing me that our people don't like instructions. Oh boy. Matter of fact, we hate instructions. As the title of our idea for is today, rules, rules, rules. I'm so tired of rules. Oh boy, rules, rules, rules. I'm so tired of rules. Alright, might as well go on and die. Well, you can't even die and get free from rules. Because according to how you follow the rules, you got a destination to look forward to. And when you get to that destination, you gotta follow more rules. See, within the confines of the Most High's order, you're gonna have to follow order. Because He's always got rules set up to keep everything within order. As the text says, it's upheld by His hand, or the power of His word. Pump them brakes. Young lady flying up the street to get past me. And gotta pump them brakes just as hard as I do. But yeah, just like now, you gotta follow the rules of the road. You gotta follow rules in life, period. You can be tired of them all you want. Just like the Most High had me to look up the 10 Commandments, which I know the 10 Commandments pretty much by heart. But once I looked them up, that's when I was troubled. I said, oh boy, look how they trifle the Most High's word to get what they want out of it. Like the text says, they're a heap of teachers and preachers who will tell them what they want to hear because of their itching ears. And what an itching ear means, they only want to be tickled and pleased. You know, when you have your ears itching, it tickles. That's what they want, somebody to tickle their fancy. Oh boy, that's the best way to put it. They want somebody that's going to tickle their fancy. That's not going to tell them the truth as a TI is. They'd rather folks make up stuff than tell them the show enough gospel truth. And this is sad, but it's true. And I have come to the realization that I myself might as well get over the sadness that I see daily. Because more than not, you hear me saying in our recordings that that's a sad song. Basically because it is. Basically because some of our people are doing some wrong. We're going to get this. I want to read over what I discovered. Well, first I want to go over this idea a little more in detail with how the Most High presented it to me. He said Yahusha himself followed the rules So if they were good enough for him, why don't we follow his example? If he say we're gonna do greater works than him, then we need to do exactly what he did. Walk the same path he walked, right? To the best of our abilities. Because it's actually impossible to follow some of the laws, statutes, and commands until we get back over in our land. But practice makes perfect. So if it was good enough for the goose, it's good enough for the gander. And I'm not calling the Most High no goose. It's just an example. But if we're good enough for the leader, it's good enough for the followers. Or the teacher or the Adonai is good enough for his followers or disciples. And even in him calling them disciples, that give you the idea that they got to follow rules. They have to be disciplined. And see, that's all rules are, discipline, being disciplined to do something continuously over and over and really the right thing. See, we like the idea that we can slip and slide every now and again and it'll be all right. However, that's not the case with the Most High. That's not the case. Yeah, family, I had to get out that truck. I need some air today. I saw a lady in my neighborhood unloading a couch into her place. And that really disturbed me. Because every time she went and came back, she was bent over more. And I had known just by watching the neighborhood that she had children and a husband or a boyfriend or something at the time. I knew these facts. But she was the only one doing the heavy lifting. And you know how these sofas these days or couches are these days. They have huge pillows. And she was struggling with the 2 backrest pillows to get them in the house. So I said, Father, I sure hate seeing that. He said, well, do something about it. You just gonna sit there and let that young lady drag the whole couch into the house? Hey, you know there's an ex. So I approached her. I said, ma'am, do you need some help or would you like some help? And she said, I sure would. My stomach is hurt. I said, oh boy. And without me even saying much to her, she started telling me her whole situation. Pardon me. Telling me about her family, why she thought her stomach was hurting. And she was eating some fast food, McDonald's to be more exact. I said, oh boy, that sounds like an issue, right? She was like, yep. And then she started naming all what the junk foods was she ate. Spicy sandwich, fries, grease, and some other things. I said, nuggets. I said, oh boy, that sounds like why your stomach hurting. Had you drunk some water? She said, yes sir, I'm drinking water now. I said, okay, that should help. But that McDonald's ain't no good for you. She said, I know I usually eat healthy, but I just wanted something different. I guess to say it's too cheap. And with that being said, the Most High told me that over there in the truck. I said, no, I ain't gonna tell that. I cheated myself on my 90-day fast. One of the worst things I could have ate too. But I had a powerful hanking for hanking, which means a powerful desire or taste for some noodles. And I went and got them noodles too. Spicy noodles. And I regretted it afterwards. But not until afterwards. Praise the Most High, my wife and myself have been doing pretty much a good job on this 90-day fast / diet / purging. And I felt the huge difference on yesterday by breaking that fast for a bowl of spicy noodles. But it's okay, it taught me a huge lesson in this process. And the main one is the difference I felt in my body from consuming that mess, from consuming the noodles. Now the spice is fine. Yes indeed, we can eat spices all day long. Let's see what I figured out. I wanted the texture. And the sad thing about that is, I was just in the groceries looking at some zucchini noodles and some other kind of noodles that was natural or plant-based. I said, I don't want these, I want the real. And I got the real, and it really, like her, sent my body for a loop, or spent my body for a loop. Really had my stomach so hurt. But see, I knew exactly what my problem was. But praise the Most High, I had to confess that. But yeah, I went on to help the young lady, and while I was getting ready to, and like I said, she was telling her whole story, and her friend, which she told me was her baby daddy, had told her he was going to the store and he'll be right back when she brought the couch in. I'm like, oh boy, now why wouldn't he go on and unload the couch first and then go to the store? I let it fly over, said, okay, no problem. I said, I'll help. She said, well, he's on his way. I said, well, I'll sit here and wait. I'm not gonna move until I talk to him. And I did, and I told her, I said, I saw your wife out here moving stuff by herself, and I asked her, did she want some help? And she said you was on the way, so I thought I'd holler at you before I touched anything. He said, that's fine, thank you. So like I said, I helped him, and pretty much that was that. Told that story. But to follow rules, as our ideas for today, and what the lack of following rules would do. See, just like when I had made up in my mind to follow that 90-day challenge, there was rules that were set up by them. And the main one was don't eat no noodles. Don't eat no noodles. Because we're on a live plant-based diet. Or live vegan, live foods only. But of course, we've been eating nuts and hummus also. Praise the Most High. Back to this really disturbed me, of how they trifle the Most High's word. Rules, rules, rules. I'm so tired of rules. And yeah, we was talking about Paul Well, Yahusha, and then we was gonna go over to Paul and how Yahusha followed the commands all his life, and Paul did too. And you might ask me, well, Robert, how would you know that Paul and Yahusha followed the commands, all the commands, laws, and statutes? Because they was teachers, they was preachers. They was held at a higher standard than the other people. And to be quite honest, if you didn't keep them commands, them laws and statutes, you would have been stoned and could have been put to death. But it was a point that they was held at a higher standard. So what would they look like if they said, well, I'm not following the commands. I'm not going to follow the commands. So nobody would have been following or even listening to them. Because it probably would have been stoned to them. Or thrown out the synagogue. But Yahushua went there frequently to teach and to observe the Sabbath. And Paul did also. Or Saul and Yahushua. But the next idea is, like I said in the truck, if they kept them, why wouldn't we? Now, many have questions about Paul's writings and what he expected as far as keeping the laws, statutes, and commands, and the accountability piece as far as would that cost you your salvation. I myself personally, I look at it like this: if the Most High asks you to do something, then you need to do what He asks you to do. Period. If not, it's disobedience, which is sin. Some people say if you don't keep them, it won't cost you your salvation. You still will make it into the kingdom or into heaven. But I'm like, well, when you get there, what you're gonna have to follow? His rules. You can't get there and say, well, I don't want to follow these rules. I ain't have to follow them while I was walking on the earth, so why should I have to follow it now? But I wanted to get to these 10 commandments, which really bothered me. And I'm going to see if this bothers you about the same as it did me. I looked the 10 commandments up on Google, and it said, it asked the question, are the 10 commandments, must the 10 commandments be followed today? And the answer came back that the 10 commandments does not apply today. That for Christians, it don't apply. But it says, do the 10 commandments still apply? The 10 commandments as written by the finger of the Most High Elohim, God, at the top of Mount Sinai are no longer in effect. Christians are not obligated to live by them. Oh boy, and this was written in August the 26th of 2018. That's something that will make you throw up, and pardon the language, but seriously, that turns my stomach almost to the way it was hurting yesterday after I cheated on my fast. Praise the Most High, same thing, breaking His laws. You're gonna feel the effect. And the 10 commandments are, you shall have no other Elohim before me. So that don't apply. You don't have to follow that no more. Have any other Elohim you want, any other God. And see what Hasatan was doing through the Pope, through the Vatican at that time when they changed the laws, the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. When they changed the laws saying you don't have to follow the 10 commandments, this was put in place so you can follow Hasatan. Or in reality, to make it better, let's put it in the way like he did it. You can follow yourself as your own Elohim. Put yourself in the Most High's place in your own life, like he did. And you shall make no, you shall not make for yourself an idol. Pretty much in the same vein as the first thought, but instead of just making a god, you're making a physical god for yourself. Just like looking in the mirror, same thing. And just like the American Idol, hot mess. Hot mess. You're blatantly saying, I'm gonna make myself an idol. And folks watch this show, gone. Every time it's on, millions of folks right there in front of them, making those folks their idols. And these celebrities, music stars, sports stars, whatever you want to choose. They say it's okay. Those are done away with. You don't have to worry about the Most High that created you and his rules. You don't have to do them. It's okay. It's all right. And you shall not misuse the name of the Most High, your Elohim. And a lot of that, in my understanding, is lying on the Most High's name. Saying this means something, or he said this or that, when you know good and well he ain't said nothing of the like. Because somebody saying God damn don't really make a bit of difference, because you're not really talking about him in the first place, because you don't know him. If you knew him and you gave him the respect that's due his name, you wouldn't cuss him. But at the same time, on the flip side of that coin, a lot of people say and do things like that in order to disrespect the Most High's name. But God is not his name. There's so many other gods. Just like it said in the first one, you shall have no other gods before me. And the next one, which is a bigger, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. See, I don't want to hear that one, because everybody's listened to the command of the Pope at that time. Pardon me. Who changed the days. So they don't want to hear it. They used to their Sunday worship, Sunday morning, the traditions of men. And then, see, all of them first four pretty much has to do with the Most High and the honor that's due him. Then it turns over from 5 on down to how you deal with other people. It says, honor your father and mother, which the text goes on to say that your days will be long on the earth that the Most High gave you. So that's done away with. And by the way, all them other ones I spoke on are also done away with. You don't have to follow the Sabbath day. You don't have to, you can misuse the name of the Most High. Matter of fact, when comedians use it, it's the funniest joke in their repertoire. You don't have to honor your mother and father. And we see this is at an all-time high of disrespecting parents. I had a customer the other day. No, last month. Who was telling me about that her mother had came to live with her. I said, well, congratulations. I know you're excited about your mother coming to stay with you. She said, yes, I am. It's a challenge, but it's quite exciting, and I'm so glad to have her with me so I can take care of her like she took care of us. I said, y'all? She was like, yep, I have a brother who wanted to send her to a rest home. I said, oh boy, ain't that something? I don't know what the word I used, but I think I might have said, ain't that sad? And she said, yes, it is, because our mother took care of us by herself, did this, that, the other. She was always there for us. But praise the Most High. That's what I call honor and the lack thereof. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet. All of those are broken every day. We murder each other, and not just by physically, but spiritually and mentally, by speaking murder out of our mouths. We commit adultery. We steal, give false witness against our neighbor, and we covet other people's stuff. That's why we do most of the stuff we do, because we covet what other people have. Like this old song in a play I saw years ago. I want what he got. I want what he got. A famous singer sung that song in that play. Talking about he want what the other man got. Why couldn't he work hard and get his own? Or like the Most High showed me this morning, a very vivid dream of your gifts and talents are gonna have you sitting amongst the kings. He showed me that this morning, and I knew exactly what it was. He said your gifts are gonna have you sitting before kings and make way for it. Well, praise the Most High. I just had to come and get that out of my ruach, because that's mostly what it is, me venting of how that text was written like that, or how that Google question was answered like it was. It's no longer in effect. Christians are not obligated, and you're not. You're not. Now that I think of it, you're not. Because you're not really children of the Most High Elohim. Most aren't. Now, a lot of Christian folks are wholeheartedly seeking the face of the Most High. They just don't have the knowledge. But as the text said that we went over yesterday, or the day before, one of the prior recordings, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. But the lack of knowledge is not the problem, because the knowledge is there, always has been. You might say, well, what's the problem, Robert? The text says, because you reject the knowledge, then I'm going to reject you and your children. Oh boy. And I said, Father, why is that so? That is so harsh. Why would you say it like that? Because you born into sin and shaped into iniquity. What's the saying goes, you are your father's son or daughter. Basically, you're going to reject them too. So these laws, statutes, and commands mean nothing to nobody these days. Not even to his real people. And see, we're obligated to follow them, so they can reject them all they want. That's on them. But see, we're obligated to be the light of the world. So how could they even repeat a script like that they're the light of the world? The city that sits on the hill, when you living worse than the people that you talking to. Pardon me. Your life and lifestyle is just as trifling as the people you call yourself witnessing to. Oh boy. But rules. I'm so tired of these rules. Okay, you don't have to follow them. Like I say, we took the oath. We took the covenant. Our forefathers at the foot of that mountain, I'm going to say it, I'm going to cry this until the day I leave this earth. They said, we'll do whatever he tell us to do. Whatever you tell us he say do, we're going to do it. We promise we will. They turned right around and broke every one of them. And then every prophet that the Most High sent, they killed him. Said, we don't want to hear about your rules. Get on out of here. Stone him, kill him. Then he said, well, let me send my son. They'll listen to my son, the Messiah or the Mashiach. They'll listen to him. They said, crucify him, crucify him, kill him dead. Somebody asked the question, well, you don't want to kill him, do you? They said, let the blood be on us and our children. So that's why we're where we're at today. Not just because of our parents' hard-headedness, but they pass it on down to us. Not only by saying let the blood be on our heads, our hands, and our children, but by the way they taught them. It's okay, you don't have to listen to those laws. You don't have to listen to the rules. And see, that's why our people are where they're at today. Because we're held responsible for being the light of the world. And I heard this young lady ask me last week about that. Saying, well, why would a loving God allow these things to happen to people? War, disease, the thing that just hit the world. Fame, famine, fire, people losing everything. Why would he allow that? Good question. Glad you asked. Because folks don't want to follow the rules. When you break the rules, you find yourself living out the repercussions. And I could hardly put one and two together until I just thought about it, and the Most High reminded me. Here I am telling the young lady she was eating junk food, and I myself had just consumed junk food the day before. So I apologize, family. I ask you to forgive me for not keeping my word. I had to apologize to my wife and the Most High for breaking my promise. Because I said I was going to do something. And I'm going to continue it on now. But I had to have them noodles. Them spicy noodles. And they tore my stomach up. See, that was the repercussions of breaking my word. And then having to come and apologize and explain what I did. Even after the Most High gave me fair warning by me trying to preach to somebody else or telling them that they was eating bad food. Sad, but it's true. Praise the Most High, we're not going to quit or give up. We're going to keep pushing in the right direction. And I pray you do the same. I ask the Most High to bless and keep you. And try your best to follow these commands. They're really not hard to do if you think about it. And as I heard a Morate say, if you do these 10, they're basically the foundation for all the rest. Because you're not going to disrespect the Most High or your neighbor. So therefore you're not disrespecting yourself. Or anything he asks you to do thereafter. Praise the Most High, family. That's going to be our time. Stay up, keep pushing forward in the right direction. Shalom. Oh yeah, family, I wanted to ask the question. Which one of those commands do you feel you're not personally obligated to keep? As a Christian or whoever you claim to be. That's a good question. Which one of those? And I dare hope it's not any of the first 4. But we break them every day, so. But that's the question. And family, I guess the best way to ask that question is to turn it around. Which of these commands do you feel not obligated to follow? That you're not obligated to follow? And then ask yourself why. Because a man tell you not to follow him, oh boy. Because the Pope say you don't have to follow him, He also tell his people that they can play with little boys. Oh boy. Oh boy. What about that? Do we ever consider that? The one that changed the Most High holy days. What else are they changing or allowing? I know a bunch of Catholics don't like hearing that, but they know it more than anybody else, sad to say. They know it oh too well. They know it oh too well. They don't want to hear nothing about that. They don't even want to be reminded of the sins of their fathers. Or their church's fathers. Same thing as far as the so-called founding fathers of the Christian church.